What's up, big baller shot callers? Big Ken here. Welcome from the Grid to the Room Sports Talk Show. Joined by my co-host Brandon. What's up, brother? How you doing? Been a while since I've had you on.
Yeah, Ken. Yeah, thanks for having me back. I'm glad I could be here. It's a lot of scheduling issues and busy with work, so haven't been able to be here, but I'm glad to be here tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. Yeah, I've been busy too. Like I said last week, me and Monty, or Monty and I should say, correct my English. My aunt would get mad since she's a school teacher, but um, yeah, we just came back from our trip. Honestly, been back for I can't believe we've already been back for 2 weeks from the Tennessee San Diego trip. But man, we've been busy. I just started my new job, so I had a busy week this week, and Monty was supposed to get on today, but he's spending time with his kids in El Paso, so Monty could watch the show, and hopefully we can get Monty on next week. I don't know if you're available for an early show next week, but Monty should be available maybe before like a Thanksgiving Day show, maybe like on Tuesday or Wednesday. So let me know your schedule next week.
Wednesday, yeah, I should be out pretty early Wednesday, expected to be, so
Yeah,
no worries
so yeah, I think we're gonna do a show before Thanksgiving. So just let me know about that. But
for sure.
all right, sports fans, we have a lot to talk about today. A lot of upsets in college football today. We just watched what now, Oklahoma taking on Alabama, but there's some other big ones. Ole Miss falling to Florida. Indiana getting crushed by Ohio State. We're going to talk about all those games today. Talk about the college football playoffs. Um, I had some issues with so many two-loss SEC teams being in the college football playoffs, but a couple of them lost today, so that's going to change that. So the football gods were, I think, paying attention to that, in my opinion. But we'll talk about that. Um, Obviously, NFL topics, all the New York Jets drama. My co-host and really good friend here, Brandon, big Jets fan, so I know he's got that on lockdown. I always like to hear Brandon's thoughts on New York Jets. You know them inside and out. Talk about some other NFL, subjects. Kansas City losing their first game to the Buffalo Bills. That's a big rivalry. Last 3 or 4 years. Since Buffalo's been on the map with Josh Allen and then get into our NFL picks for week 12, man. And anything else we could come up with football, sports related during the show today. Um, let's get into this. The first game I want to cover was this morning game, the Indiana Ohio State game. Obviously, this game was very hyped up. Number five, Indiana's first 10-0 season, like I covered last week, their best start in program history. Indiana's been known for basketball. We know this. A lot of great basketball players have come from Indiana over the years. Um, so that Indiana has not been known for football, but this year they're having a historic year. But Ohio State is Ohio State. As much as I hate them, Ohio State is legitimately a good team year in year out. And that was the big question mark for today's game would Indiana be able to compete against a legit top five contender for the national championship. And first half was good. I mean, Indiana got to a great start and scored the first touchdown in the game, and they're up 7-0, so they had a great first quarter. 14-7 at halftime. I don't know if you watched that game, Brandon, but Indiana was fortunate to only be down 14-7 at halftime because their defense saved them. They had some Indiana had some big miscues in the second quarter, and Ohio State was not able to capitalize on all of them, but they capitalized on the last miscue and the botched punt to end the first half, and they were up 14-7. But second half, the wheels just completely fell off, and Ohio State wins this game 38-15. So this is my question for you, Brandon. I don't know if you watched this game, but this is Indiana's first loss, and there's a lot of one-loss teams in the top 12 right now. But this was a bad loss for Indiana. So do you think with one loss will they still be in the top? Do you think they still have a chance to be in the playoffs, or do you think this loss takes them out? Because most usually a one-loss team will still very much be alive, but the problem with Indiana is their strength of schedule. They haven't played anyone all year long. Then they get the one big game they have, they just get the brakes beat off them. So what's your take?
Yeah, you know, so I didn't get to watch the game, and I'm not really. I can't say that I'm actually surprised because everyone's surprised by Indiana playing this good. Um, but at the same time, this is the first time they've been good. So really you take a team that's been there like Ohio State and they get the recruits, they have the program, they've all been in these top ranked situations playing these top teams, and Indiana hasn't been there.
Agree. I
They're
told
just
my
kind of
dad
playing
that.
the
Yeah.
yeah, Indiana's just been playing the bottom feeders of the Big Ten.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and it's the Big Ten, yeah, they're legit and they loaded up on some good programs this year, but it's very top heavy, to me
Yes.
at least.
It is.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not surprised by the result,
I'm not
but
either, and that's what I told my dad. Like, I'm not surprised, but it's just
no,
unfortunate for them.
yeah, to me. Do they still make the playoffs? There's been a lot of wild stuff to happen this weekend. There's some teams that were on the bubble of making it, like Colorado. That
They
they're
got blown
out.
out. They got whooped pretty
Yeah,
good. Kansas is
they
very
did.
hot right now. Kansas has won
Yeah,
like 4 or 5 games in a row. Got off to a very
yeah,
bad start this year, but now they're like almost bowl eligible. I think they got their fifth win of the year, so they just need to win one more to be bowl eligible after getting off the atrocious
yep.
start, like 0-5 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So
And BYU lost. They lost their second in a row, so they're out. There's no coming back in for those teams. But Indiana, that's tough. Regardless, and I know we'll get into this. I mean, I know we were going to talk about this. This needs to put SMU into the
we were
playoffs.
previewing this. I was
If
kind of
they're
mad
going
if
to
SMU doesn't get
bounce,
in with one
yeah,
loss and
yeah,
four two-loss SEC teams in the playoffs before the game started. It was driving me nuts. I was like, no
that's a
way.
three. That's two three-loss SC teams now.
Yes.
Three.
So that takes out two of them. But
Yeah, yeah.
starting today, there was four SEC teams with two losses in the top 12. Yes, SEC fans, I'll bow down to you guys. You guys are a very great football conference. You love your football, but four teams, no way, man. Like I'm okay with two or three, but not four. Like no effing way, man. So I'm glad the football gods took care of that today. So
Yeah, they kind of these SC like Bama getting in there, and Ole Miss. It's the their name value, the Bronny James of the playoffs. Their
yes,
name value got them
yeah,
there.
yes, Alabama's been dominant, but you're right, it is name value. But one thing you could say for the SEC is, since they are a very good, football conference, week in, week out, you always have a tough test. Like, I won't say so much the Big Ten because the Big Ten is a little bit down. I think they're top heavy, but the old Big Ten, it was very similar to the SEC, where every week in, week out, you play a top notch team and you could lose if you're not ready.
Yeah,
But not so much this year
yeah,
because I believe the Big Ten is top heavy. There's a lot of bottom feeders in the Big Ten this year,
yeah.
but
Just
but
Ole,
that's just
Ole Miss has to go. Bama has to go. I think if anything, I don't know if you move up Iowa State, Arizona State. Do they move up the bubble?
Iowa
Um,
State's too far back. They're like ranked in the 20s.
so is Arizona State. But if Texas A&M pulls this off against Auburn, they move up. SMU needs to move up. Indiana, do they stay or do they go?
I don't know if
That's a
Indiana will
tough one.
completely fall out. Um, they're going to drop. I think the question is how far will they drop? See, Indiana's had to play a close game. Like I was telling my dad, like Indiana didn't necessarily need to win this game, but they just had to show they had to pass the eye test that like, hey, we can compete. If they would have lost a barn burner game where it's late in the fourth quarter and both teams have a chance to win, I think Indiana is very securely in there. But since they got whooped, that's the problem. So
Yeah, yeah,
and that was only, and they're the, and like we said, like they haven't played anyone yet until Ohio State, and that's the problem. If they would have had a couple of quality wins earlier this year, I think they would still stay in with only one loss. But they just
yeah.
got destroyed today.
So I just pulled up their schedule now. They destroyed Western Illinois as they should. I didn't even know that was a school. Uh, UCLA destroyed. UNC Charlotte destroyed. Maryland, they put up points, won big. Same with Northwestern. The Nebraska 56-7.
Yeah.
What? How did that? I don't remember. How
I
did
was
that
watching
happen?
that game, and Nebraska actually
Wow.
gave Ohio State a game the following week. Like Nebraska should have won that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, because
And
Nebraska's actually improved this year, but the wheels fell off for them in that game because they Nebraska won today. They're bowl eligible for the first time in like 6 years. They beat Wisconsin pretty handily today.
yeah, yeah.
So
Who's that? Who's their coach again? He coached the Panthers and
oh yeah, I think Matt Rule or something like that.
Matt Rule. Yeah, yeah, Matt Rule. Yeah, that's. I mean, he's a college coach. We know he's about in the NFL.
Right.
But and then they go on to beat Washington, destroy Michigan State, and they squeak by Michigan. I mean, these are all either solid programs or teams that were ranked at one point that I don't know. I would all they have left is Purdue. If they lose to Purdue, they're done. But if I based on how many points they've scored, I would still and it is Ohio State and it was at Ohio State.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like
I would yeah.
yeah, we don't want to like make a knee jerk reaction. I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
As a team that can put up like 40 points in most of the games that they've played, I feel like the playoff committee is going to want to see some team that can score be in
No,
there. So
Indiana
I
did do
think
their
they'd stay.
job. I'm with you. And that's one thing I did tell my dad. Like, I've been debating this on both sides. Like, they didn't. One side of me says, yeah, they may be out because they didn't pass the eye test, but then the other side of me is saying exactly what you're saying now, saying, you know, yes, they didn't play anybody, but that's not their fault. They don't make their schedule, and they blew out all the teams they faced like they were supposed to do to make them a worthy team.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
you have a very solid point there. So they're probably still in, but they cannot. Purdue only has one win, but I'm telling you, man, Purdue has probably got to be the best one-win team in the freaking country because
Yeah.
they've lost like three or four nail-biter games. They've lost like two or three
Yeah.
games in overtime. I watched them play Michigan State the Friday game. They
Yeah.
lose 24-17. They're down 24-3 at halftime, but then they make this big comeback. They've lost
Wow.
so many close games. The problem with them is they keep on getting down big, then they try to make these heroic comebacks in the end. They just they fall short,
Yeah. Yeah.
either in overtime or like last night they just lose 24-17. One possession. So it's a rivalry game. Obviously, Indiana's going to be heavily favored, but this is an Indiana State rivalry. Both teams being in
Mhm.
Indiana, so records will be out the window. I know Purdue wants to get a win, man. I feel so bad. I don't think Purdue's going to win. I think Indiana probably will blow them out, but I know Purdue. I just feel bad for Purdue, is what I'm saying, because they've been so close, and
Yeah.
and they want to get this losing taste out of their mouth. I think the commentary said last week they started off the season 1-1, and now they're like 1-10. They've lost 9 games. They lost nine. They're on this 9-game losing streak. So
Mm.
um,
Wow.
they just have this.
Yeah.
They just went on this horrible streak, and some games they got blown out, but there was three or four of them that were very winnable, which could have changed their whole entire season around.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think they're going to be a contender, but they might have been able to finish like around 500 maybe if they win some of these games. Or at least 5-7, at least being better than 1-11. So you know. Anyways, but Indiana would be favored, but they can't lay an egg though. But here's the other thing about Indiana: we don't know who's going to be in the Big Ten championship game. If they lose the championship game for a second loss, I think they're out. I think Indiana cannot lose anymore. So
I do not expect they're going to play Oregon then, so they're going to lose in the championship game.
yeah, there's
I'm
like
pretty sure I'm pretty sure they're opposite divisions, so
they are
I would
opposite. There's
expect,
like
yeah,
I don't know all those scenarios, but
yeah,
there's a three-headed monster between Ohio State, Indiana, and Penn State. It all depends on what they all do in their last week about
yeah.
who plays Oregon. So
Mhm.
obviously
Penn State squeaked by today too.
they squeaked by against
Yeah,
Minnesota, but Minnesota is a decent team. obviously not a ranked team, but Minnesota's like one of those sleepers every year in the Big Ten. They can beat you if you're not careful,
Yep. Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
they always go to bowl games. They're always like a 7-5 team. They're always a solid 7-5 team that makes it to some kind of mid-level bowl game year in, year out, and sometimes they even win some of these bowl games against other conferences. Like they're kind of a feisty team. Like they're a grinder team, yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're kind of like that in basketball too. They're usually like a
yeah,
10 seed or something like that, and
yeah.
they might get a
They'll
win.
they,
Yeah.
they'll like they'll claw, man. Like they'll fight,
Yeah.
they'll scratch and claw, and just try to stay in the game. And the longer the game goes, if they're in the game, they could pull off an upset. You have to take care
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
You have to take care of them early. Don't
Hmm.
give them no chances because
Oh yeah.
they feed off of that. But yeah, I agree. Indiana won't beat Oregon right now. I think what would be
No.
interesting is I think a lot of people want to see the Ohio State Oregon matchup because that was a really good game earlier this year. Ohio State could have won the game, but they blew it. So Oregon held on
Yeah.
to win by 1 point. So because the quarterback slid with no time left on the clock and the game was over, he thought he had a second left and he did
He
it.
he pulled
So
a Dak Prescott. Yeah.
he did pull a Dak Prescott. Man, don't that's a low blow for me, man. Yeah, we'll get in the NFL later, but that'll be such a low effing blow. That's a low
Yeah.
blow because
Sorry,
That's all right. Me,
man.
I got drama with the Cowboys, and you got drama with the New York Jets, man.
Yeah.
Woo! But yeah, but I think Indiana will stay. We're dragging on, but Indiana's a good subject. I'm just like again, I can't overstate this
Yeah.
enough. I'm just glad that the football guys took care of two SEC teams with two losses to completely knock them out, man. So
Yeah.
if Alabama gets into three losses, I'll say all hell is broken loose, and they're just completely on their freaking bandwagon.
There's no way they make it. At this
There is
point, I'm
no way,
telling
but
you.
if they did, I'll be like,
No.
I think everyone would just like go to Alabama and burn it down, man. Like seriously, like
No.
what? That won't happen though. But
Yeah.
um, let's talk about one of these other games. Well, we saw. Did you see the Colorado game against Kansas?
I saw the score. I caught the highlights of it. Yeah, I was making I was doing some chores and errands today. Making a shelf for my girlfriend, and so I wasn't able
Nice.
to actually catch anything. So, but
Um,
I was able to catch the scores though.
I watched bits and pieces of it. Basically, Kansas started off fast and they just never really slowed down. They're up 17-0 early, but then Colorado did get a much needed touchdown. The Heisman Trophy candidate, the two-way player, had a big touchdown catch, and they're only down 17-7. And they did make a game for a while. It looked like Colorado was kind of getting back into the game. It was 30-21 at one point, so Colorado was right in the mix, middle of the third quarter. But then, you know, um, you know, Kansas gets that second touchdown to go up 37-21. That's the way the game ended. So, I mean,
Yeah,
Colorado did not have any lead throughout this whole entire game, is what I'm saying. Like Kansas had the lead from beginning to end. So, and then I did watch, the Alabama, Oklahoma game. Oklahoma was senior night for them, and they just want to get their seniors to win. They played lights out. Um, but there was one controversial call that did screw Alabama, but I don't think it cost them the game like we're talking about in pregame. They're down 24-3 early fourth quarter. That ended up being the final score of the game, obviously, too. But it looked like they might be able to make a comeback because they took a touchdown off the board. What looked like it might be a 24-10 game early in the fourth quarter with like 13 minutes left to go in the game, but they took that touchdown away on a very bad call. And with me and you being officials, that was a bad call. I made my mistakes, you've made yours, but I don't want to jinx myself, knock on some wood, but I've never called that. All my mistakes, thank God, have been in blowout games where it didn't freaking matter. Um, but I don't know how he called him being covered. Like they had a legal formation. They had four guys in the backfield. Ryan Williams is on the line. The tackle's on the line or the tight end, but he doesn't go out for a pass. So it wasn't ineligible downfield. The other two receivers were clearly off the line. So I don't know how they got it confused that Ryan Williams like he was not covered, so I don't know how they're saying he's effing covered. So,
Hmm.
yeah, because he was the outside receiver. If he was the inside receiver and then he went out, of course we know he's covered, but he's the outside receiver on the line. So how is he covered? Like
Yeah.
that makes no sense. And I don't know how a D1 college football official makes that mistake. We wouldn't make that mistake probably at our level. Like if I don't know, I just don't throw a flag. You have to know for sure, right? So, but I don't think it cost them the game. There's no guarantee they would have won, but it could have made it a little bit closer, and maybe they get a little bit of a comeback going. But Oklahoma's defense was solid all game long, though, man, all game
Yeah.
long. So
Well, I do disagree that you said that we've made our mistake of calls. We haven't made mistakes. We just saw, based on our judgment, how things are differently. So,
right, I agree with that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, well,
yeah, yeah. We don't make mistakes. We're not sponsored by DraftKings or FanDuel like the NFL is, so we don't
I
close our
agree.
eyes on some
It,
things.
all, it
So,
is all about, and you're right. It is all about angles and
yeah,
perception
yeah, yeah,
and things like that. Well, there was
yeah,
there was there was there was a couple times like in my first year, where there was guys covered, but I just didn't see it, and they went downfield in the pass play. I didn't throw that flag, but it didn't matter because it was a blowout game. Of course, Weibel wants it. You know, North Kitsap
of
coach
course,
freaking
yeah,
wants it. They're up 49-0, and this poor other team that's getting their butts kicked. They have a guy. They're both on, and I didn't see it because it's my first year. It's only like my third varsity game, and but I'm thinking like you really want that, and you're winning 49-0. Like you want that, like come on. That's where Weibel just annoys the shit out of me. Like dude, like it's like shut up.
yeah.
Like
He got mad at me. He got mad at me for not because I made the wrong call, because I made the right call. He just didn't think I should be looking there.
yeah, like he's annoying. He has a good program. North Kitsap is
Yeah.
always a very good school in football. They're a little bit down
Oh
this
yeah.
year, but they still made it to playoffs barely. But they lost right away. They didn't make their deep playoff run that we're used to. But
Yeah.
usually
So
we're used to them getting to like the semifinals every year or so. But yeah, this year they were just a little bit down. But he can be
I
annoying.
just you just what a play. So Auburn just tied it at 31 with the field goal with
Good.
like 6 seconds left.
So they're going in
Texas
overtime.
A&M. So Texas A&M almost ran back a kick return.
Oh
I
shoot.
don't know if the player didn't have the he didn't throw it back, but he just kind of got himself cornered in the end zone and or cornered. I'm not cornered on the way to the end zone. And he didn't like look to toss back or anything. I don't know if he was aware of the clock, but he
Yeah.
basically got himself inside the 40 for nothing. Time expired.
Yeah, if
Um,
there's only 6 seconds left, man, you got to take it to the house, or you got
yeah, yeah, good
or
point.
you got to
I
get
mean,
down in midfield like 1 second for a Hail Mary. But
yeah,
you don't know when you're in that position. You probably don't know what the time of the clock is anymore. You know.
yeah, and a lateral would just frisk like them taking it back to the house off
Yeah.
that. So I mean, I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in, but good effort, I guess. But yeah, about Colorado, I'm kind of Deon Sanders is one of my favorite players of all time, so I'm pulling for them. That locker room after the game, he did. I read that he was saying that the locker room did get humbled. Um, they've, he's as the kids say, they got swag. I don't know if the kids say that anymore, but they've got some swag. They got some attitudes, and they come out with the attitude that they're better than everyone else, and it's actually been paying off this year. I think they finally got the players that they want in at the program, and yeah, Hunter and Shadeur, they've they'll talk, and they've been backing it up this year for once, as opposed to last season. So
Yeah.
um, it's they're probably going to get dropped from the playoffs now because of this, but
Yeah, that's their
I
third
think
loss. They have to. They
yeah,
can't. They
yeah,
can't be in.
yeah.
Just like
They've been
Alabama.
pretty good this year, though.
They are good. They have much improved because they got the fast start
Yeah,
last year, then the wheels fell off and they ended up finishing 4-8.
yeah,
They were like 4-1 at one point, and they got ranked, and then they just like lost like 6, 7 games in a row badly.
yeah, yeah,
They weren't even close. But I'm
yeah,
glad they are doing better. this year. But I will say one, and I like Deon Sanders too. Some people don't because he's flashy, but I like him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so does Monty. Me and Monty talk about it all the time. I know people don't like him because of his flashiness. And they probably think he's arrogant and all this, but I like him. I actually think
Yeah.
he's a pretty good man and pretty humble in some ways. But he does talk, but he could back it up,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, but there was one thing his son did that was really bad, and he's lucky he didn't get kicked out of the game. As Shadeur, he pushed the official, and I don't know how the official did not kick
Really?
him out for that. Yeah,
See, I'm not a
that's
fan
where some
of.
people are going to say self entitlement
Uh,
because he's Deon Sanders' son. You can read the headlines now, but it was in the third quarter. I didn't see what had happened, but the it was the white hat too because he was actually getting ready to talk to the crowd to announce his penalty, and then Shadeur Sanders was upset about something. He just like kind of gives him like a small shove in the back before he's about to make his call to the crowd, to the the home side, the press box, and you know one of the other officials kind of reined him in, kind of like pushed him back. So the white hat didn't turn around to see what was going on. Like he kind of got pushed and he got nudged forward, but then he just kind of like he didn't look back, but then he just kind of like regroups and kind of makes his call, wherever he was calling holding or whatever it was. I don't even know what the call was, but it doesn't matter. The point is, Shadeur Sanders probably should not have been in the game after that. Whether it's a good call, bad call, or 50-50 call, like you can't do that. And this is where
nope.
Deon Sanders needs to talk to his son because if he doesn't, ooh, I can see it now. He needs to do something about that, man. And I really like Shadeur overall, but that was not a good look for Shadeur Sanders today. Um,
No, no, that's I bet he wouldn't have done that to Ed Hockley. He would have put him in a chokehold, taken him out.
yeah, yeah. Frustration is
He's a good
part of the
guy.
game. Football is very emotional, but you can't
Yeah,
lose your cool
for
like
sure.
that, especially in the middle of the field. I mean, there's going to be all kinds of clips on this all over social media, so I'm sure it's I didn't look before our show now, but I'm sure it's circulating because I saw it live. I was like, oh crap! So. Um, yeah, it's going to be talked about tomorrow in sports world, college football. So I think Deon Sanders needs to rein his son in. Like I like Shadeur. Obviously, he's
Oh
young.
yeah,
He's not. I mean, he's an adult, but he's a young adult where where he's at the age where he can make some boneheaded mistakes. But that was one of them. So
yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah, he needs to rein that in. That was not good. He was way out of line. Should have been kicked out, but he wasn't. So
Yeah.
some people are going to argue that he wasn't kicked out because he's Deon Sanders' son. Whether that's true or not, of course, we don't know, but that's going to be the first thing people are going to say.
Bronny James wouldn't get thrown out for
Bronny James isn't even doing any
that.
good in the G League. You know,
We knew that would happen, though.
I had a
Oh
show with
man.
Monty for our show here at the end of March Madness. I said Brian James should not come out, because me and Monty were covering the national championship game with Purdue and UConn. Of course, you were on some shows for that for March Madness,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. But me and Monty did the final show, and I was talking about like, man, there's rumors about Bronny coming out, and I said he shouldn't, man. Like he should not come out, man. He had a setback, his freshman year with his health issue. He's come back his sophomore year strong, and see what he can do. But LeBron was pushing that father and son thing, man. So
Of course he had to. And I mean, Bronny doesn't really want to play. He's just ready to go play Black Ops 6 after these games. Just got to go play for his dad.
yeah,
Got to do what dad wants him to.
he's covered for life. And like I said on this show, we talk about anything. We've led into basketball real quick, but this is anything like that's why we call it from the grid to the rim.
Yeah, yeah.
We can anything we think of, man. We talk about. We usually pregame, but there's always something that comes out that's unexpected. So I love that's what makes this show fun and exciting. But let's get into some NFL, man. I'll let you talk about a lot of big games coming up this week in Week 12. I'll let you talk about your New York Jets, and we got some other subjects. So, what's going on with your New York Jets? Aaron Rodgers, the receiver. What happened to the old boy coming back, and they haven't done anything so far, man.
Man, where do I begin? So I remember it was our week 5. So I believe it was our week 5 show that after the Broncos lost, I gave up to this. I gave up on the season after
You
week
did. I
4.
remember you were very pissed off that show. I remember that. It was like week 5 or week 6. You were like this
Yeah,
completely distraught. I remember that. Yeah.
and you look at the Broncos now and them being 6-5 to that loss, and I'm not saying it wasn't a game where it's like we lost to a team that's contending for the playoffs. That's a good team. It was a team that it was a game where the quarterback is throwing 10 yards over the receivers' heads, and we're playing just as bad offensively, where their quarterback has no connection, but they have a good defense. And our defense wasn't really good. They were just playing a one-dimensional offense that wasn't really sinking like they did this past week against the Falcons. But it was this has been the worst season for the New York Jets I've seen in my life. It's I you want to say it can't get any worse, but it just finds a way to keep getting worse every week. And I didn't even watch the game against the Colts last week. I went Christmas shopping. That was so much more worth my time. I knew the game was at 10. I was like, oh, nope, I gotta go Christmas shopping. I'm doing this now. I don't have many days off now. So I did that instead. So glad I didn't watch. So glad. I expected a loss and they lost. It's now some good things have happened. Now, like I said, after he was fired, I wanted to show briefly with you, and I think Jay it was.
Yeah.
Um, Firing Robert Saleh was the right decision at the wrong time. And they just fired Joe Douglas finally. That was the best news ever. I've been waiting 3 years for that. This guy, I don't want to hear. Now, there's some things where I don't believe that bringing in Devontae Adams was his decision. And I don't know if Aaron Rodgers was his decision. I don't think so.
Yeah.
But he's just been a cheapskate, scrap heap, clearance bin general manager that does nothing in free agency, makes multiple trades in the draft to acquire multiple picks, and then he'll do something like, let's take 2 running backs in the 4th round, or let's take a quarterback and some tackle from some Division 2 school in the 3rd round, or oh, let's draft this safety because he can do a backflip and catch the ball at the same time. Like it's just been a dog and pony show with multiple whiffs, and you can say that about many other GMs. But this entire offseason has been built upon a betweener of a win now team and a team that is building for the future. But when you do not re-sign Bryce Huff or even attempt to negotiate with him, and instead you trade for a guy that wants new contract, and you refuse to negotiate the new contract based on what you talked about with his agent
Yeah,
before
and
you deserve to be fired.
He's been playing the last couple of games. Yeah, we talked
Has he?
about him too. Hassan
It
Reddick,
doesn't.
right?
It doesn't look like he's playing to me. He hasn't done anything at all.
No, he
He's been
hasn't.
just a complete whiff as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming him. The one thing I won't blame Douglas for is Devontae Adams and Rodgers. I don't think it was him because Joe Douglas doesn't like to spend money except when it's Jonathan Frank the Myers, and you trade him away and do nothing. But he just trades away to acquire cap space and not spend the money. So he need to go. He was not doing anything good with his team. He has a 60-93 record. He need to go. And now the new drama with Rodgers is he might not be back next season. All I know is if we cut him before June 1st, it's a $49 million cap hit in 2025,
Hmm.
and there's no cap hit in 26. But if we cut him post June 1st, which is the start of the league year, then it's a slight cap hit of like it's a slight cap hit, and then there's a big cap hit. So let me check real quick. I just sent this to a friend. Let me see what it was. Okay, so yeah, so it's going to be a big difference in the cap hit year by year. Okay, here it is. So 14 million in dead cap in 25, 26 million dead cap in 35 after June 1st. So honestly, just cut him now, get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off. I don't care if we draft another quarterback this year. I would honestly hope that we keep losing out. I think we'll go 5-12, beat the Dolphins once, and we'll beat the Jags. We're going to lose the rest of our games. So we'll be 5-12. Kings ransom the draft pick. Hopefully, we can. There's a quarterback that falls into our spot that we don't take. There's no point in taking quarterback this year. I would tank for Arch Manning. There are so many needs on this team. They need a clean house. There needs to be. I would keep maybe 20 players on this team that's on the roster right now. Everyone needs to go.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this for the record, which we can transition to something we said we wanted to talk about. I I want to be on record because WFAN in New York has been talking about this. I was saying this before they said it. I want Rex Ryan back as the Jets head coach.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that Rex is the best head coach we've ever had. I'm not saying he's a great head coach, but one thing this team lacks that I see every game is they don't care, they don't try, there's no pride, there's no hustle. This team does not have any like pride in being a New York Jet. And Rex Ryan he had players just will die on the field for him if he asks them to. Every analyst now, Damian Woody, Bart Scott, Willie Colon, the guys that are on SNY or ESPN, those were Rex Ryan guys. And even one of my buddies, Brian Thomas, he still has Rex's playbook.
Yeah.
He still has the playbook at home. He's a Rex Ryan guy, and they loved playing for him. No one loves playing for the New York Jets right now. Nobody loves being a New York Jet, but he will bring that pride and he will bring that culture that we need. And that's a good place to start. And we need new
I
owner,
agree.
but you
It'll be
can't
a
change
move
the
up.
owner.
It'll be a move up in the
But
right direction.
yeah,
I
but
can't say that for my Cowboys though, but
yeah. Well, like
they,
I
they
was
don't
saying
they,
about
they
yeah,
don't move in the right direction because they have freaking Jerry Jones. But anyways, we'll talk about that in a
yeah.
minute.
We have the two worst owners for our
Yeah, we
teams.
do.
Woody Johnson. And I'm reading things like something got leaked about how after the Broncos lost, Woody Johnson held a meeting to try and bench Aaron Rodgers. Um, I think Joe Douglas leaked that. I,
I know you're happy
I think
about
it's.
that.
Yeah. I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad Salah's. I like Salah, but obviously Salah getting rid of him, the defense just got worse and the team stopped trying. So
Yeah,
um, and Ahmad Gardner regressed more than anything I've ever seen in my life. He's not Sauce anymore. It's Ahmad Gardner. He's terrible. I would trade him for 2 first rounds if we can get that right now. I
the
would get anything back for him.
the Jets got one win in the second game when the receiver Devontae Adams came back. Obviously, they laid an egg the first game, but they played a lot better the second game and they won. And it looked like there might have been some hope for
Yeah,
the New York Jets because they're saying, "Hey, the New York Jets, they don't have a very hard schedule, so they have some very winnable games." It looked like they might make a run after Devontae Adams got there because they played much better. Like I said, they played much better in his second game there, and then the last 2 weeks, like I said, they just have fallen off. They lost 3 out of 4 games with Devontae Adams there, and now their season's just done. But it
yeah.
looked like they might make a run though after that win, But um,
I didn't think so. They beat a beat up Texans team. I I wouldn't. It was happy to see a win. I didn't have any confidence that they beat Arizona.
yeah,
Arizona runs. Yeah, they can't stop the run. Arizona just runs so well.
Houston had their bounce back game against the Cowboys. I really like C.J. Stroud, but Houston got off to a really fast start, but then they had like 2 or 3 games where they were just like all of a sudden hitting like this, brick wall. And then it looks like they
Mhm.
broke through because they won against, they blew the Cowboys. Well, the game was close at halftime, but in the fourth quarter they pulled away. Cowboys made it a game for one half but the second half got like it always is. You know,
Yeah,
but let's
yeah,
let's talk about my Cowboys real quick before we go into talking about Mr. Jim Harbaugh, the Chargers,
yeah,
man. Uh, yeah, I won't get too much in the Cowboys, but I'll say like I knew they wouldn't be as good this year, but I didn't think they'll be as bad as they were though either. I did think they might struggle this year. Monty and I predicted that in week one, like it might be. We'll see how they do, but I thought they might just squeak into the playoffs. I didn't think they're going to be like a NFC East winner. I thought they might squeak in as a wild card, but I didn't expect them to be no 3-7 though. The wheels have completely fallen off. I'm just tired of Jerry Jones. Like I said, we have the two worst owners. This them not getting a running back in the draft, them not trying to get a running back during the offseason has just completely effing backfired. That is like the vein of our existence for me and Monty. They had chances to get multiple running backs. Running backs have killed them in their games, like a Derrick Henry runs all over them earlier this year. Houston Texas game, the old Cincinnati Bengals running back,
Mixon.
Joe Mixon shreds them. They had chances to get him when he wanted to leave when he was leaving Cincinnati after a pretty good he had a pretty good run there for what 5 or 6 years, and Mixon's kind of had a resurgence in his career with the Houston Texans. He's going to be 1,000-yard rusher probably. I'm pretty sure he will. Or he's already there. I think he's already there.
I
He's like
think he's leading the league. Yeah,
he's right
or
on the
top,
cusp. He's right on the cusp of
not
it.
leading.
But Joe
Yeah,
Mixon is
top
close.
three. Yeah.
Derrick Henry is the number one rusher, and number two is
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley. They're well over 1,000
Okay.
yards.
Yeah. Yeah. Then
But
it's
um,
then it's
but Joe
Mixon's
Mixon's
right.
on the cusp of getting there, though. He's probably in the top, I say five, definitely top 10 for sure, but maybe top five this year in the league. But Cowboys missed him. There's other chances. There's other running backs they could have got too. But yeah, Cowboy. Cooper Rush. You know, he saved our season a couple of seasons ago when Dak Prescott, was out with the thumb injury for 5 games. But he's not the guy. He's a good backup, but he's not the guy. There are some Cowboys fans that were saying this. I totally disagreed with them. There was Cowboys fans saying they need to put in Cooper Rush over Dak Prescott. I'm like, no freaking way. Yes, Dak Prescott has his issues, but I'm telling you, Cooper Rush is not better than no Dak Prescott, and that's showing. Like, see, like that. Yes, Dak Prescott has his errors, but he is much better than Cooper Rush. We have a better chance of winning games with Dak Prescott than Cooper Rush. But in Cooper Rush's defense, he did save our season a couple years ago to get us into he's a big reason why we got in the playoffs, winning 4 out of 5 games he started was pretty dang good. He saved the year. So good on for that, but he's still not the guy. Um, and Jerry Jones, like I said in the NFL draft show, he's 82 years old with billions of dollars. He needs to take his wife to the freaking beach and drink pina coladas and just chill out in his retirement.
He looks more like a bourbon guy to me, but
A bourbon, yeah, I
fireplace,
agree.
fireplace and bourbon
He's
kind
a
of guy.
big
Yeah.
he's a big
Yeah.
southerner, so yeah, I would definitely say it's bourbon or whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing, whatever. But anyways, um, let's get into Jim Harbaugh. What do you think about Jim Harbaugh and the resurgence of the Chargers, man?
Well, before I go on Jim Harbaugh, like the Cowboys running back situation, like you said,
Okay,
just
you want to still talk about my boys? Let's do
like
it. Let's do it.
so the draft, what I read is Jerry Jones wanted to trade up for Jonathan Brooks. And because no one else would trade up for him, he's like, oh, no running back for us.
He's an idiot.
Blake Corum's still in the board.
And I would take Blake Corum. I'm a Michigan guy. I would
Yeah.
gladly take Blake Corum.
Braylon Allen was there. The Jets stopped using him a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
He's a good one. You can
yeah,
have 100 yards a game with him.
you
And he's
could.
20. He's still 20. You can get 10 years out of him.
Yeah, I agree. He's a great young running back. I agree. The old
He is.
Wisconsin running back. Yeah, yeah, he's good.
Yeah. If
Um,
the Jets
Blake
had
Corum, I think
someone.
Blake Corum could have made a punch too. You know,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's behind Kyron Williams, and he'll get his probably next season. But the
he's
Rams utilize the running backs right.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But he's made yeah, exactly. But it's better than what we got now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, Cowboys just it's just all Jerry Jones. It's something I said last week, and I'll repeat it this week. RG3 said it. The problem is not Dak Prescott. Yes, he's lost a lot of big games. We know, especially in the playoffs. We know about Tony Romo and Dak Prescott just being horrible in the playoffs, being good during the regular season, and then horrible in the playoffs. That's been a curse for the past 28 years. So, but RG3 said it's not Dak Prescott. He said it's the culture Jerry Jones has made. And I think I
Yep,
agree with that 1,000% because
I do too.
he does not know what he's doing
Yeah,
as the
no, he
general
doesn't.
manager. So,
And as you said, the culture that's a good transition to Jim Harbaugh.
yep,
I've been wanting him to coach the Jets since he left the Niners, and yeah, I mean, he took the Chargers job, but they're 7-3. I didn't even realize they were 7-3, but they're winning games. They changed the culture. I'm seeing things. Practice is over, and he's leaving the building, and there's still guys in there just working out. That they're staying late. They're
wow,
studying. They're studying film. They're putting in the extra effort. He's not asking them to. They just do it. That's culture changing. That's what Jim Harbaugh brings. That's why the Chargers are 7-3 right now, and they have a
yes,
roster that you look at on paper, and it's like, oh, they're going to be a top 10 draft pick. No, no, and that's another thing that's appealing to the job. You've got, I mean, he loves California, so he's there for the weather probably, but they've got Justin Herbert. They've got a franchise quarterback and no star receivers. They got Lad McConkey, who, I mean, he can do it if you use him right. He's a good slot guy. And Quentin Johnson, who this guy has brick hands. He's dropping everything. And
yeah,
here he is. He had a bad game, thing like week 2, week 3. He's getting like a touchdown every week now. He's for real. He
yeah,
woke
he is
up.
for real. He's bounced back nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
he's the TCU receiver. Yeah, he killed
yeah,
Michigan a couple years ago in the playoffs. Yeah, when
yeah,
they upset Michigan in the semifinals. Yeah,
yeah,
he's bounced back nicely. Yeah, he's legit.
yeah,
Everywhere Jim Harbaugh goes, they win. I know there's question
yep,
marks about his controversy at Michigan, last year with that scandal, but at the end of the day, though, everywhere Jim Harbaugh has been throughout the NFL, college, they freaking win. He made Stanford better in college. Then he goes and he play. I think he was at San Diego State before that. He makes them better. Then he tries out the NFL with the 49ers, gets them to a Super Bowl, plays against his brother in a very good game, comes down to the end. Of course, he fell short, losing to his brother at Baltimore, but that was a very good Super Bowl. That was an entertaining Super Bowl. Um, and then of course he makes Michigan better. Finally gets the national championship. He was pissing me off for a while, losing 6 bowl games in a row. I was on his ass about that. Like
yeah,
it seemed like he didn't know how to prepare them for bowl games when they get a month off. Like they just always come out flat with a month off. But he finally got over that hump, and they sealed the deal last year. So I was happy for him. And I was also just happy for Michigan because none of their players hit the transfer portal. A lot of other players would say, F this, I'm trying to go somewhere else, but they stuck together. And I'm glad they got a national championship because of them sticking together, not hitting the transfer portal, which is the thing that everyone wants to do in today's college game. So good on Jim Harbaugh for that. Yeah, he's a winner at the end of the day.
yep.
People can say
He's
whatever
a
they
winner.
want, but he's a winner.
Yep.
And that game against Cincinnati. Cincinnati had so many chances to win. Their kicker blowing 2 back-to-back kicks. He's usually very reliable. I was surprised. I had him in my fantasy. I'm just pissed because I need points, dude. You're missing kicks. But
There's been a
what,
lot of kickers.
yeah,
McPherson's his name, and then Young Hoku and Justin
yeah.
Tucker.
But there's also been a lot of players making. There's been more 50-yard field goals made this year more than any NFL year, but there's also guys missing a lot of kicks. It's kind of been a
Yeah.
wild roller coaster ride with kickers, but they made so many. They made a lot of 60-yard field goals this year. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but but yeah, I feel bad for Joe Burrow. Before we get on our next subject, I feel bad for Joe Burrow because this dude is playing lights out, and they just keep on freaking losing. Joe Burrow and his receivers are doing their thing, man, but they're just falling short because of the defense, man.
Oh yeah.
But he's put up some crazy numbers for a losing team, man. Joe Burrow is doing his thing, man. Him and Jamar Chase are doing it, and then their other receiver on the other side, he missed a couple of games, but he came back against the Chargers, had a great game, and they still end up, losing. I know his name, the one that was in the whole controversy with Damar Hamlin dying on the field.
Oh,
Couple
T Higgins.
T Higgins, he comes
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
He missed like 3 or 4 games, but he came back and made a huge
Mhm.
impact. But they still end up losing. Him and Jamar Chase both had really good games, and they still lose. So But let's talk about Kansas City Bills game. I'm finally glad Kansas City lost. They've been like winning some nail biters. Some people say the refs are on their side. I don't think that's true, but they have had a couple of calls, I guess you can say, go their way. But one thing I'll say is a sign of a championship team is the win close games when you're not playing your best. And they do seem to have the ability to do that. But I'm glad they finally lost. So what you got on that, man?
Um, I am not glad about who they lost to. So
Oh yeah, because you were
yeah,
because you're a
yeah,
New York Jets guy. Yeah.
yeah. You know the Buffalo. I feel like they're a team that's less talented than they were last season, but they have a structure and they got guys to fit their systems, and it's working right now. Not a great strength of schedule, but Kansas City was due for a loss. They've been due. They
Yes.
almost lost to the Broncos. They've almost lost to the Ravens week one. They've been on the cups of losing every week, and then they play a team that's legit going to be a team to compete with them in the playoffs. So it was they were due. It was going to happen. Now they play Carolina this week in the bounce back game, in which they'll probably win by 3 touchdowns. I expect,
Yeah.
just to take it all
That game
out.
should
And
not be close. If it is, I'll be
no,
surprised.
it's a 10.5 point spread, but I I think it's going to be a quite the blowout. And
Yeah.
Carolina's been playing better. They
They
just got to
have
win
been.
against the lowly Giants, but this is a game where Kansas City can finally say, "Well, we finally got a loss. We're not taking it easy. We're going to hit practice hard. We're going to refocus. We're going to put in the
Yeah.
extra hours on film, and then they're just going to come out and crush it." I can see that happening.
Hmm.
Um, they don't have the weapons that
They have some weapons, but they're
losing.
not quite as good. But they still got Xavier Worthy, the rookie from Texas. They still got Kelsey. They got that other
Kelsey's
dude. They got that other dude, DeAndre Hopkins.
Kelsey's peaked. Hopkins is
Yeah, they're
almost
getting
peaked.
older. Hopkins and Kelsey
Yeah,
are older. Xavier Worthy is a rookie, though. He's their future.
he just comes off to me like you drafted Mecole Hardman early. That's just how I look at him. They don't seem to do a whole. They get all these fast receivers, but Mahomes doesn't really look for them. It's like they don't really run routes right to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, Tyreek's the one that runs routes, has the reliable hands. He's got the speed, and that's why it works so well. But
Right.
Worthy and Mecole, there's just something that's just not there. And if you go to the games live, you can see it. But if you're watching on TV, you're not going to see them down screen. So
Right.
um, I don't know why they get these really fast guys and they end up with like 30 catches a season, with like maybe 6 touchdowns. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, yeah. I don't really know I don't really know what's there exactly. So, but I mean, I'm sure he can come out of his shell. He can break out. He's young. He's really athletic. So, but this year he hasn't really done much to me. But losing Mahomes injuring Rice for the season is just
Oh
that's
yeah. He
that's
was their no,
that's
he
really
was,
hurt him.
no, I agree. No, he was their guy, man. He was
Yeah,
he was lights out from last year as a rookie, and this year his second year. He was having a great second year, also back to back
yeah.
years. Yeah, that definitely hurt
My
them. That was
my
just so
dynasty
unfortunate.
league.
That was just so unfortunate. Of course, Mahomes didn't try to do it this friendly
Yeah,
fire on I think an interception or something.
it was. Yeah,
I think Mahomes
he
threw
tried
an
to make.
interception. Mahomes threw an
Yeah,
interception. He's trying to make the tackle. He hurts his receiver.
tears
So
his ACL.
I'm like,
Oh,
geez, man, talk about a bad play, a double whammy, interception, and your best receiver out for the year. That
yeah,
was just a
really.
bad play all the way around,
Oh
man.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
but here's one thing Kansas City has going for them though is that defense of theirs, man. They got a lights out defense. Because in Kansas
Yeah.
City's early years, they had all offense, but no defense. But now they got the defense. So I know you're looking at a score. I can tell you're looking at TV. So
Yeah.
what's going on?
Uh, fourth, Auburn just beat Texas A&M. Texas A&M's they're out of the playoffs.
Good. Another actually, I
Yeah.
like Texas A&M because they're Texas, but I'm
Yeah.
just tired of the SEC having these chances to have like 6 teams out of the 12 teams in the playoffs. So good.
So Auburn. So it was fourth overtime. Auburn went for two, made it 43, 43-35. So A&M scores a touchdown, 43-41. A&M goes for two. They
Good job,
for
football
they
guys.
yeah, they switch into a wildcat formation, and the running back taking the snap does a pitch back reverse to the quarterback. Quarterback does a running throw. The receiver is open in the end zone underneath and just drops a wide open pass in the end zone. That's so catchable.
That
Oh,
sounds
what a
like the
loss.
Alabama Oklahoma game. Same thing. Like, dude should have caught it, but wow.
The camera has been painting on this guy the whole time, and I think he's crying right now.
Oh
That's
man,
sad.
that is
Yeah,
horrible.
that
You
was
do feel
such an
bad for him.
easy.
Yeah, you gotta feel bad for a guy like that because he probably makes that catch 99 out of 100 times.
I think anybody on the Division One college roster makes that catch 99 out of 100 times.
Yeah,
Wow.
probably anyone on a high school roster makes that catch. A
Yeah, I
varsity.
would agree.
It's just
Yeah.
unfortunate, it's just the one you wish you had back. You
Yep.
know,
Oh yeah.
that sucks.
Yep.
But I do feel bad for that receiver because you don't like seeing that in sports because obviously he feels like complete shit. I mean, but here's the thing: you have all these other plays throughout the game to win this game, so they're not in the where they're not even in overtime, But everyone just always remembers that last play. But how many plays did he have before that to win the game? Not him, but someone else, But
True. Yeah.
but everyone's just gonna remember that last freaking
Yep.
play, you know.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So that sucks for him. But I am
It
glad from
does.
a football college perspective that because they've been trying to squeeze as many SEC teams in this college football playoffs, so I'm glad they're not in it. But I do like Texas A&M, so it's unfortunate for that reason. But
Yeah.
they're just in the wrong conference. Um, what else? Let's go over some picks. But
Yeah.
I am glad. Yeah, Bill. Here's the one thing I'll say this before we get into our picks. The problem with the Buffalo Bills is they have got to be able to beat Kansas City in the playoffs. They beat them in the regular season. That's great, but they have got to beat them in the playoffs. That's been their kryptonite. Remember the 13 seconds like 3 years ago where I thought they had this game won and they screwed it all up. So I hope the Bills, I would like to see the Bills do it, but I still don't know if they can. But we'll
I
see,
do
though.
not. I do not.
You
You want to
don't,
see them
but
suffer?
yeah,
I
you're a New York guy. See, my brother-in-law is a Bills fan. That's why he talks my ear off about this. So, um, but I understand why you don't because you're a Jets guy. But
yep.
I'm saying it because I want new blood. I don't want to see Kansas City win another Super Bowl. That's why I'm saying it. So, um,
Mm,
but
I don't want that blood. I'll stick with
all
the Chiefs. Coach.
right, that's fair. You're staying loyal to
Yep.
your Jets.
Yep.
So I'm with you on that. Let's do some picks. Well, before the picks, let's talk about this recap of the Browns Steelers Thursday night football. What do you think about that? The snow game. That was awesome, man. That was so fun to watch in the second half with all the snow.
That was beautiful, man. What a game. That was a great game too. This Pittsburgh down and Jameis still pulls it back to get the win. That's a completely different team now that Amari Cooper's gone and most of all who needs to be gone, Deshaun Watson. What a game for them, man. I kind of want to see Jameis take over another resurgence. He's never been a bad quarterback, but if they can get a coach in to really help him see the field better and cut down those turnovers, I think he can really be valuable to its
I
team.
think he can. Like I say, he's never
Yeah,
been bad. He's competitive. He's not like
yeah,
a top tier quarterback, but he can win you some games.
oh yeah,
He had some good moments with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he started for like 4 or 5 years. I think he got him into the playoffs once or twice, but didn't do much.
yeah,
I think he got him there though. He had moments, but that way he has potential.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
potential is the big word with him. Um, yeah, let's get into some picks. So, and I was happy for Miles Garrett because I like Miles Garrett, and it's good to see Cleveland get a win because like he's Miles Garrett is an absolute freaking beast, man.
Oh yeah, great
And
player. Oh
he's a
yeah,
great player, and I like his comments at the end of the game. He's a team guy. He's playing hard. There's one thing he said that like there's one thing he said in the post game conference, that was awesome. He said everyone needs to find their why to keep on playing hard, to try to just play for pride. like you're talking about no pride with the Jets. He has pride
Yeah.
for the Cleveland Browns. He's like, you need to find your why. Like whatever your why is, you need to find it, but you need to show up here ready to freaking play. And
Oh yeah.
he was happy to get the win. Like I love that from a leader.
That's
So
great.
yeah, yeah, that was a great post game press conference. All right, now we're finally in the picks. I said that three
All
times.
right.
Now we're finally getting there.
Big time.
Um, Titans at the Texans, man. Who do you got, brother?
Oh man. I gotta go Texans. It's Titans are just not a good team.
They suck right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Texans, like I said, Texans kind of refound their footing against the Cowboys last Sunday night football, wherever Monday night, whatever the get damn game. It was Monday night, but I think I really like C.J. Stroud. He had a 2 or 3 game stretch where he was playing badly after starting off so hot the first like 6 or 7 games, but I think he's back. I think C.J.
Yeah.
Stroud is the real deal.
Yeah.
I don't think he had a fluke one year. I think he'll be good for a long time. So I think they're back. I got Texans winning too. Probably won't even be close. And it's in Houston. Um,
Yeah.
Vikings at the Bears. Who you got there?
Um, I'm going to respect the Bears defense. Um, and I think they're going to hold the Vikings a field goal. So I'm going to go 26-10. I'm going to go Vikings as next score.
Vikings
Yeah.
will still win, but
Yeah.
they'll.
The Vikings defense is legit, and what's been getting the Bears is pressure, and the Vikings blitz more than anybody. Brian Flores has that defense
Oh, he's a great
focused. I think
defensive
the Vikings
player.
take care of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
Bears got to a slow start. Then they hit this run of like 3 or 4 games where Caleb Williams was playing really well. Then Caleb Williams went back the other direction the last 2 or 3 weeks. But he did play, like I said in the pregame, he did play much better last week in their loss because he was taking a lot of unnecessary sacks that we were talking about during pregame. But it looked like he started scrambling and getting rid of the ball faster. But I still think they'll lose. Though I agree. I think the Vikings win this game, but I think it's gonna be closer than people think. I don't think it'll be a blowout. Caleb Williams did play better. They are playing at the Bears, which gives them more of a chance, but it's cold weather all the way around. They're in a cold weather
mm,
division, NFC North, ground and pound football. Um, I got the Vikings win, but Sam Darnold is starting to throw more picks. So he
yeah,
had a great start, but he's kind of been trending in the wrong direction. But he bounced back last week, didn't throw any picks.
yeah,
So hopefully he continues that like he did the first 7 or 8 games this year. Yeah, I got the Vikings. Oh, my team. Cowboys at Commanders, man. This is usually an easy win for the Cowboys, but not anymore.
yeah. It's. I think they're going to be the Redskins again. I think they're going to take this win.
I have a big Redskins fan, and he still calls them Redskins. He hates the Commanders
Yeah,
logo
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
He's like, they're still the freaking Redskins, and they're not the Commanders.
yeah.
Oh my God, he's yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Until
Fingers,
Amazon starts selling their merchandise again, they won't actually be the Redskins.
yeah. But Jaden Daniels, runaway rookie of the year.
Easy,
Uh,
easy pick. Yeah,
they'll continue against the Cowboys. I was thinking at some point the Cowboys are going to break this losing streak, but I just don't think they will. I think the Cowboys will be lucky if they win 2 or 3 more games this year.
yeah,
They're that bad, um, offensively and defensively. They suck. So yeah,
yeah,
the Redskins, Commanders, wherever you want to call them, yeah, they got this game. I like to see the Cowboys win off of pride. Like the way Myles Garrett is playing with pride, but I just don't think they can. They're
yeah.
just too bad on both sides of the ball to win.
They're
They
bad.
suck.
They're pretty bad.
All the good thing they got going for them is their field goal kicker is great and Turpin is great. That's the only 2 players I think are worth anything at the Cowboys right now. So
Yeah,
and CeeDee Lamb, but he can't do
yeah.
it all on his own.
No,
Um,
no, no.
but all right, Pats at Dolphins. I think this is going to be a much better game than people think because have a resurgence with Drake May. What do you think about that?
Um, yes, Drake May. He can help that. He helps the offense so much, and the Pats defense is solid. But now that Tua's back,
Yes,
I believe
big difference.
I it's a huge difference. And I think I saw a stat he's only got like 4 incompletions since he's come back.
Yeah, it's something
That's
crazy like
insane.
that. Yeah, it's
That's
insane,
wild.
dude.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins take this one. It is in Miami. They usually do pretty well with home field advantage. I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one. I think they're just going to be able to start clicking now that Tua's back and they can get Tyreek the ball.
I haven't gone against you yet. I'm with you too. I'm sure at some
Yeah,
point we'll disagree, but the first
yeah,
set, I agree on the first 4 or 5 games. Yeah, Dolphins will win. I agree. They're much better.
yeah.
To When Tua came back, they lost their first couple of games, but they were much more closer. They weren't
Hmm.
blowouts, and now they've won a couple in a row. I think the first two they lost, and now they're on a streak with him, and I think that continues. Um, we already talked about this earlier, but Chiefs at Panthers. I think we both got the Chiefs big in this game.
Chiefs.
Chiefs,
Yeah, yeah.
there's nothing to even talk about there. Chiefs will bounce back big time in this game.
Hmm.
Bucks at Giants. What do you got? I like how Baker Mayfield's playing. He's playing so hard. You know they've been dropping games with all the receivers being hurt, but he is playing so well, being with limited receivers. Man, he is playing hard. I respect his game.
Yeah, yeah. I do too. Baker. I think the Bucks found their quarterback. He found it home. He's got some great receivers. Especially without them playing, he's still trying. I think he's a pretty good leader too. So,
Yes,
as
a
far
lot
as
of
the
energy.
Giants, yeah, Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones is gone.
Oh, we forgot to
So,
bring that.
yeah,
Oh, we forgot to talk about
yeah.
that. That's one thing we
Well, we can,
forgot. We always forget something.
yeah, we can
Better late
now
than
though. He's,
never. Danny Dimes is gone.
yeah, there was a 64 million dead cap I read. So,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool to not have to do anything, just get that much money.
I knew we were
How would
forgetting
you?
something when we opened up
How?
in the NFL. I knew we were forgetting something. We pregame this, but
Yeah.
we brought it up
How
now.
how do the Giants not sign Saquon and then you sign Danny Jones
Dude, they
instead
are
and
so
halfway
bonehead. They're
through
worse than the
you,
Cowboys.
you don't even go a full season with the quarterback you choose over your
He
top
had one good
running
year.
back.
He had one good year
I,
upset
I wouldn't
Minnesota in
even
the
say it's
playoffs.
good.
They
He
signed
didn't
him
have
to his deal. Yeah,
I wouldn't even say he had a good year. He had a year.
he had one year. Yeah. Dak
Oh,
Prescott
that's
is better than him. That's one thing about the Cowboys. I'll say I'll take Dak Prescott over Daniel Jones any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Um,
yeah. I would still
um,
take Rodgers over him. He can't
yeah,
see the field.
nope.
Oh, yeah,
Giants
no,
head coach is a bonehead too. You know, he wins NFL Coach of the Year a couple years ago, and I never thought he was all that. So, um,
yeah, I don't. He's there. I don't think he's that
I don't
great.
know much about him, but I think he's yeah. I'm like,
He's
don't think he's.
overhyped.
I'm not big on him. Put that way. Um, Bucks
But
Bucks need to bounce back and win this game though to help the Cowboys.
yeah, I think Tommy DeVito's a joke. So
Yeah, he
I'm good
is.
with it.
He's all about. Yeah, he lives with his mom and dad at 25. Like I'm like, come on, dude. So like you're making a
I'm,
million dollars a year and you live with your mom and dad. You're freaking late. You're lazy, bro.
those
So
New York taxes take a lot, man.
yeah. Yeah, I think he's just a media thing. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Um, Lions at the Colts. What do you got, man?
Lions
Fucking
will destroy
Lions here,
them.
man.
Yeah, I would play the Lions spread if you were better.
If what?
If you were better, I would play the Lions spread.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think they're gonna. Colts. I mean, they found ways to win. They're not completely like hopeless, but
they're not hopeless, but they're always wild card every single year. They just don't get over the hump, man.
yeah, yeah, no, they're. I think Richardson will be okay. He's got some accuracy issues they need to work on. I don't know
Yes,
if
he does.
it's
But he had that at
yeah,
Florida too, so I don't know why they're gonna think he's not gonna have that in the NFL.
yeah,
Very athletic, but his throwing wasn't great in college either. So in the NFL is even faster and better. So I don't know, it's
yeah.
not going to magically get better. They have to,
Right, right.
I think he has a chance. I like him. I think he could
Yeah,
be.
yeah, I like him too.
I think he could be a good quarterback, but they have to address that. They need to work. He needs to work on the off season with that. You know, which I think he will. I think he's a hard worker. I think he'll do that. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah, but I got the Lions all the way. I just really like the line what the Lions are doing after Aiden Hutchinson got hurt. It's almost like it remotivated their team and they're playing for their boy. You know,
well, they got Zadarius Smith to replace him too.
yeah, yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's very good point. Yeah, they have
yeah,
a solid team, man.
yeah,
Um, Still think their coach is a meathead, but I respect him. He wins. He's definitely
yeah.
changed their culture there. I just don't like what he did in that NFC Championship game, but he is a great coach. I just,
Culture is the word of the day.
huh?
Culture is the word of the day.
Yeah, culture, man. That's our theme of this show, man. Culture. Um, Broncos at Raiders rivalry game. Raiders aren't very good, but it is a rivalry game, so you never know. What do you got, man?
I can't see Minshew, O'Connell, whoever they're going to play at quarterback. I can't see them scoring 2 touchdowns against the Broncos
No, their
defense. So
defense is out off the charts this year.
yeah,
Like Kansas City, I agree.
yeah,
That's been a yeah, they're really good. They're legit.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
got
I'm going
Broncos in this
Broncos.
game. And
Broncos
Bo
too.
Nix is starting to pick it up, man. He got kind of
Yeah,
off to a slow start, but he's been playing a lot better the past several weeks.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
He's
it looks like he might be legit.
he could
Um,
be.
he could be. Um, Ooh, big game up in our area, up here in the Pac Northwest. Cardinals at Seahawks. Seahawks
Hmm.
finally break this losing streak. They beat the 49ers, which they've lost to them. I don't know how many times in a row, but they finally break that curse. They had lost 4 out of 5 games, but they finally break that thing also. Um, Not surprised that Seahawks went in this losing streak though, because everyone up here was like, "Oh my God, they're 3-0." They're 3-0, but like, yeah, they played shit teams though. So
Yeah, yeah. They did play some
no,
losers. Yeah,
like I figured they'll start losing. Nothing against the Hawks fans of 12s, but I'm like, come on, man, like you're being unrealistic. But
yeah,
but they have more of a chance than the Cowboys. Put it that way, they could still squeak. They
yeah.
might be able to squeak into a wild card, but they like I said they played well last week against the 49ers. But who do you got? Cardinals are the surprise team in the NFC West right now.
Um, I'm gonna. This is the toughest game for me to call this week. Um,
Yep.
I am going to go with the Cardinals this week. Um, I'm a big believer in the Cardinals this year. Their defense will give up points, but it's a very bend don't break. They don't give up too much to really where the offense has to completely make up for what they give up. But Kyler Murray is balling this year,
He's
and
balling. He needs to stay healthy though, but he
and
is balling.
they run the ball so well, taking time off the clock, which is really hurting the other
Yep.
teams that they play. So I'm gonna go. I'm going with the Cardinals. I'm a big believer in this team.
Uh, yeah. I don't know if the Cardinals can hold on in the second half. That's my question mark on them. This
They
isn't.
they they do slow down in the second half, but if they start out slow, they usually make up for it, make it a close game in the second half. I know what you mean. I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the second half of games, but I'm talking about the second half of the season too. That's the stretch.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking
Okay.
about both of them.
Yeah.
Like down. Can they keep on winning down the stretch? They are they. Yeah, and they got that rookie wide receiver from Ohio State too. I'm not sure how much he's done this year, but
He's
yeah,
been playing pretty good. He's been
yeah.
good.
Harrison
Neighbors has been
Jr.
the best. Yeah, Harrison Jr. Well, Neighbors has been the best rookie receiver, but Harrison Jr.'s he's had some good games. They've sometimes they click, sometimes they haven't, but he's been
Yeah,
really good.
Kyler Murray. This is the hardest choice out of all the picks this week. Kyler Murray just needs to stay healthy. Hawks are really hungry for a win, obviously, because they know the Cardinals are leading the division. They're trying to make up ground, but they're all so close. Like I think the Cardinals are 6-4, the Seahawks are 5-5. Like San Francisco's like 5-5 or something, or 4-6.
They're five and
With
five.
The
Arizona's 6
Rams
and
are
4.
5-5. Like that division
Yeah,
can go so many different directions, man.
yeah,
Um, I'll pick. Hawks have not played good at home this year at all, but I think I'm only going to pick. You're probably right and I'm wrong, but I'm only going to pick the Hawks because I think they are bound to finally win a game at home.
yeah.
Um, because
They
they have sucked at home this year, just like the Cowboys have.
That's so weird. They're just
Yes,
known for having a wild home. I've
yes,
been there. It's so loud. It's crazy.
I agree. I'm surprised too, but they just struggled at home this year, so I think they're finally gonna. It's gonna be a great game, probably the best game of the week, and
What's their record
um,
at home? They're
they're
two and
not
four at
good.
home. Yeah, they're 2-4 at home.
They're bad. They're
Wow.
very bad. I think they're gonna finally get one. I think they're gonna improve that to
Jeez.
3-4 is what I'm saying. But I won't be surprised if I'm wrong and the Cardinals run away this game because you make a lot of valid points, but I was picking off them. Like I said, I Cox got to win this game at home, man. So they got to break this home losing streak they're on right now. So
Yeah,
that's the reason why I'm going for them. And Gino's been playing well too.
most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah. They don't say he's clutch enough, but we'll see how he is the rest of the year with that. So,
Yeah.
um, 49ers at Packers, man. Who do you got?
I'm going with the Packers at home. Niners are hurt. There's something wrong with them. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is, but I'm going with the
They've
Packers at
fallen
home.
off the map. I
Yeah.
agree. Like they've been dominating the NFC West for like 4 or 5 years. And they just aren't doing it right now.
No. No.
I
There's something
agree.
wrong.
I will take the Packers
Yeah.
too. Jordan Love is throwing some picks, but he's also throwing a lot of touchdown passes.
Yeah.
I think he's legit. Like I told Monty many times on the show, he has such big shoes to fill in Green Bay with the Green Bay history, quarterback history. So with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, I just like the way the young man handles himself. I think he's the real deal too. He came out last year beating the crap out of the Cowboys in the playoffs. You know, um, he's thrown his fair share of picks this year, but he's also made a lot of really good game-winning plays, and I still trust him.
Yeah.
So I am going with the Packers too. Um, Sunday night football. This is a good game too. Good Sunday night football game. Eagles at Rams. The resurging Rams. Eagles have been resurging too. They look kind of suspicious at 2-2, but now they've won like they're on a winning streak themselves. So who do you got, man?
I'm going with the Rams at home. It's no offense that this is the kind of game that the Eagles lose.
Yep, I'm with you there, and I
The
hate the
Rams,
Eagles. I want them to lose, put it that
yeah,
way. I hate the Eagles. If as a
the
Cowboys
Rams,
fan,
yeah,
I hate the Eagles. So yes,
yeah,
if they lose
and
every
with
game, I'll be happy.
the
Uh,
Rams are just a well prepared team, and a lot of players early in the season when they were losing games that they had so many injuries. A lot of these guys have come back from injuries. I
yes, the
think that
receivers came back. Yeah, that's the
yeah,
big thing.
yeah, both Puka and Cup have come back, and
Yep.
Kyron Williams is there. So I'm gonna go with the Rams on this one. I think the Rams win in a close game.
I wow, we've only gone against each other once so far. No, I agree. I think the Rams will win. It should be a good game. I think Eagles will make a run for it. I don't think it'll be a blowout. But I agree. I think
Mhm.
the Rams will win. I like Matthew Stafford. I believe in him. I believe in their coach, Sean McVay. He's a winner. Um, and like I said, the Rams got their receivers back. Rams could run away. Rams could still win the NFC West because it's so wide open. Like you know what I mean? Like, is Arizona going to win it? Is Seattle going to win it? Is the Rams going to win it? Are the 49ers going to find a way to bounce back and get their dominance back? Um, but I think it's between the Rams and the Cardinals to win the division. That's my
Yeah.
two. So I think the Rams will win though. They're at home. They need this win, like also because their division is so effing tight. Like so, yeah, yeah. Rams got this one, man. It's gonna be a good game though.
Oh yeah, great game.
It should be a good Sunday night football game.
Yeah.
Um, Monday night football, another good game because Chargers are resurging with Jim Harbaugh. Ravens at the Chargers. Will the Ravens bounce back? Because I think they were on a good winning streak, but then they lost recently. So will they bounce back?
No, I'm going with the Chargers. I think Chargers upset them. The Chargers defense, it just feels like Jim is going to find a way to shut down Lamar and just contain him. I won't say shut down. He'll contain Lamar with his legs. And I think the defense will find a way to just keep the Baltimore offense low scoring enough to where the Chargers can do their run the clock and then just launch it downfield at the right time, which is how they've scored a lot. They've just pick, and just get all these short little down the field scores, and then they just at some point random in the game they'll just bomb it to Johnson and touchdown. So I'm
Okay.
not saying that's going to happen exactly, but I think they're going to. I think Chargers find a way to control the ball and slow down Baltimore's offense and get the win.
Okay. Um, I like the Chargers quarterback. He didn't have a good second half though against Cincinnati. He was lights out in the first half, Justin
Mhm.
Herbert, but he struggled mightily in the second half. But he did make a huge completion to McConkey, at the end of the game to get them
Yeah.
in the red zone. Then the running back had a huge run, like a 20 plus yard run that scored the game winning touchdown. But he got them there. He even though he was struggling mightily, he made a good throw when he needed to, and so this is going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. It's going to be it's probably going to be a squeaker of a game, like a field goal, kind of like game winning drive for a field goal or something. Ooh, I don't like the Ravens, so I'm not a Baltimore guy at all. So I'll go with the Chargers just because I don't like Baltimore.
Yeah.
I have no issues with Lamar Jackson. He's a great player, but I would like to see the Chargers win because I just don't like Baltimore. So I'll go with that just for that reason alone. I know we're supposed to be objective and not do that, but I won't. I won't. So
No.
usually I
Sticking with
am
your
very.
heart.
Usually me and Monty are very objective, and so are you. But Ravens definitely have a good team, but yeah, Chargers are definitely different with Harbaugh, man. Like he's making them into a legit deal. Because that guy before, wherever that douchebag coach was, he
Oh yeah, Staley, Brandon Staley.
it looks like he's a computer analyst, so he needs to be behind the desk, man. So I don't know what that
Yeah,
guy was doing, man. So
computer analyst stuff that doesn't work.
yeah. So yeah, they made the right move by getting him out, man. Uh, but well, anyways, that not the nicest thing I said, but he'll get over it. So I'm sure he's not gonna. I'm sure he's not gonna watch this.
You
So
should.
he should. Yeah, everyone should watch, man. We keep it
Yeah,
real. We keep it real, man. So you got anything in closing, brother, man?
I got nothing else, man. I wish I was repping this. I wish I was repping this year. I missed it. Hopefully I'll be back next season for varsity JV.
Yeah, I missed you too,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Um, I didn't get a playoff game this year. I'm a little bit upset. I won't say I'm upset, but a little bit disappointed. I thought I would. I'm not upset with the guys who got it because we're all deserving, but I
yeah.
thought I would squeak in there. I thought I would get in there because, I was an alternate 2 years in a row. I thought this time I would finally kind of get in, but they went a different direction. Um, I don't think I had a bad year by any means. Obviously, there's always things to work on. We all got things to work on
Yeah.
watching our game tape, but yeah, a little bit disappointed, but good year overall. And you know, yeah, need you back, brother. I'll be glad to see you come back next year, man.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, I can make middle school. Scheduling changes. Hopefully, I can make middle school, and hopefully, I'll be around for varsity JV. And I'll be. I
Yeah,
missed it. Really do
I
miss it.
just started basketball before my new job, but
Okay. I,
and here's one thing I'll say in closing. Oh man, I played basketball my whole entire life, and I started off on the football side refing for the past 3 years. Me and you both have been doing it for 3 years, and
mhm.
you know, but as much as I played basketball my whole entire life, from middle school, high school, all kinds of Navy intramural ball, pickup games left and right, you know, refing's a whole different thing.
Yes, it is.
I felt like I did some middle school ball, and I felt like, oh shit, like these kids are much more faster than I ever remember in middle school,
Yep. Yep.
and I felt like the game was really fast at a middle school boys level for me being an official. I'm like, holy crap, they're running. So
Girls basketball was fast for me as an official. I honestly I hate reffing basketball. I don't want to do it. Just
It's
football and
hard. It's
nothing
it's
else.
harder
It's
than football in some ways. You're right. It's
football. At least you let everything process. You let the play finish, and then you blow everything. You do your signals. You
right.
call
You
the
don't have to
flag.
rush. In
But
basketball, it's like right on the spot. You're
it's
exactly right.
that's not. I can't. I don't want to process things that way. I don't.
Yeah.
It, yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
funny you
it
mention that because
yeah.
that's what old boy said. Jeremy Matthews, who was we were on the
Ah,
same varsity
Jeremy.
crew, and I did a game with him. He said the exact same thing. He's like, it's a little
Yep.
bit different in football because in football, like I said, you have a chance to process the play. Your flag doesn't need to come out right away, unless it's a dead ball. Then of course we need to come out before the snap. But
And
you
that's
know,
easy.
and that's easy. The fall starts easy. Just come out.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So
Yeah. The
yeah,
player
but
shoving a dude like after the play, easy.
yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But basketball is a different beast. It's Johnny on the spot. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
And I had a deer in the headlight look for I didn't know if I couldn't remember if it was offensive charging or a block. And this is the middle school game I did with him. It was the varsity game. The JV games for middle school were much easier for me to manage, but the varsity was a whole different level.
Yep.
Um, and this is just middle school, not even high school, but they're getting bigger and faster. Man, kid dunked in middle school. I couldn't freaking believe it.
No way.
And my first game, a kid dunked. I was like, what?
I never. Oh man.
But yeah, but Jeremy told me that because I had a bang bang play and I was kind of ball watching and I saw it, but I just didn't know exactly what happened. I mean, they collided, big collision. I knew it was something, but I just didn't know exactly what it was. But he made the call for me. I just had to deer in the headlights for a second. But he was right next to me, the next official over, so he saw what happened. So he was like, charging. So
I had one. I had one of his girls basketball, and one girl jumped in front of the other girl, and like it wasn't a block, it wasn't a charge, but they both fell down, and I didn't. It was my call, but I couldn't call anything. I didn't know. Like it wasn't a block, it wasn't a charge. They just
they just ran into each
the
other.
one that was the ball handler was with the momentum backed away from the momentum, but the one that was trying to draw the charge just fell into her, but she was already on her heels when they made contact, so it wasn't like she ran through her. It wasn't like she established position on the other end. So the referee looked at me and just waved his arms. He went shrugged nice like I just shrugged back. I was like, it's nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even know you were
It's
repping
nothing.
basketball. When was this? Was this
Uh,
here in Washington?
no, this was yeah, so this was my first year of football. I did basketball that winter for like a month. I had an injury, so
Oh,
I didn't make the basketball meetings, and
so you're
I
doing
did
PBO. You
basketball.
were doing PBOA, Peninsula.
Yeah, I was PBOA, yeah. Yeah, so
Okay,
I did
just
that
like
for like
PFOA.
six weeks.
I'm doing
Yeah.
PBOA. Yeah, okay. That's why
Yeah.
I had a game with Jeremy Matthews. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
did he did me for a couple of games, and Daryl tried to get me back for year two, but that's when work started picking up and I was like, I can't do it. And
I'm gonna continue with
yeah,
basketball, but it is
yeah.
a lot harder than what I thought. The whole point of this thing, yeah,
It
because
is. Yeah, it
it's
is.
hard. Yeah, I played it, but playing it and reffing it is two different things, man. And like you said, it's so bang bang. It's much more faster paced. The offense defense transitions so quickly on the basketball court, and yeah, it's not easy. So
No.
I will say, if you like sports, put a shout out to being an official though, like Kevin always
Yeah.
does.
Yep.
You like sports, you got knowledge of the game. Um, Jason Michelson just retired recently. He said this at his retirement ceremony. He did 26 years in the Navy, retired as the master. I was at his retirement ceremony last
I
weekend.
wish I could have made it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great ceremony. He said this too, so I'll piggyback on what he said. Yeah, if you got knowledge of the game, don't tell us from the stands. Come out and join us and make us better. Great
Yeah.
message he said.
I
Yeah,
like it.
we only hear backseat driver opinions, man. If you want to do something, come out and help strengthen us. Don't weaken us, man. If you got knowledge, make us better, man. We need officials. We can't play games without officials, man.
Yep.
You're gonna make no matter how good you are, you're gonna make mistakes. It's gonna happen. There's just no way around it. You just gotta work. You just gotta deal with it and improve and be willing to take some heat sometimes, I guess you could say, and just learn from it. So Um, but that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And Brandon, thanks for joining me last second. Great show.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Um, hopefully you and Monty can get back early next week for our Thanksgiving show. But
Yeah. Let's
anyways,
try for Wednesday.
early happy Thanksgiving to you, man. And um, yeah, hopefully we'll get you back soon, man.
Sounds
But
good. You too. Happy Thanksgiving, man.
yeah.